Good day, trader, and welcome to the webinar for the month. Today's webinar, I'm going to be talking about a pattern that fools a lot of traders. Okay, and the best chart to start off with is the ALMI. As you know, it's the All Share Mini Index, so it's exactly the same as the Aussie, except it's the ones where you trade smaller contracts. Okay, so this pattern that I'm talking about is called a flag pattern, and it fools people in two ways. So the first thing, we can go to the charts and we can take a look that since June up until the 11th of August, we've seen the JSE make a beautiful rally, okay, or it's been a rise in price. Now, the stock market, it doesn't just continue to rally. There are something called corrections, and these corrections, when they form patterns, okay. So now technical analysts such as myself wait for these patterns to form. So for example, we have a trending market and then we have a pattern forming. Now this pattern is called a flag formation. So the first part where it fools traders is that they call this a wedge. Now technically speaking, a wedge only forms over 2 to 3 months. A flag is anything that is less than 3 months. Okay? So you can see that it's only been forming for a month, and we've had a correction with this upside. We've now had a correction to the downside, which is very normal, and this drop is only to stabilize the movements of the markets. So this flag formation has only made a correction of about 3% from 50,000, which also is a psychological level. So having 000 is always a level that is difficult to break above. Psychologically speaking, they find it as the next up leg. So it didn't do that just yet, and now it's made a correction of 3% down to around 48,590. Okay, and this here is the flag, okay, or the correction stage. Now once it breaks up, this is where you can expect the market to go back to the current highs at 50,000. And if you take the difference between the high and the low, you can expect the JSE to move up a lot higher. We could even expect 52,000 in the next couple of months, or even in the next month or two. But this is where we take advantage of the breakout and we get into long trades. Okay, so I can see that the first part where it fools traders is that they believe the market's coming down and will continue when it's actually, this is called a continuation pattern. And the continuation pattern is there is an uptrend, then there is a flag formation which corrects down, and then it breaks in the direction of the breakout of the previous trend, and it goes and it continues to go back up. Okay, so I'm expecting upside from here. It looks fantastic. Our trades are looking good. We're in the money. So what I want to do now is just go through a couple of stocks just to see if there's anything lining up. And the first one I want to look at is FBR, which is Famous Brands. Now, Famous Brands has been going down on a very strong downtrend since we can say 13th of October 2016 all the way down, and it's even formed what's called a gap. And a gap is where there is no trading activity between certain prices. And then it formed this huge red candle. Now when you see a gap and a red candle, this means that there is probably some fundamental that's kicked into the market that you can actually go and research and type Famous Brands August and then see what it's about. So if you don't know what Famous Brands is, Famous Brands owns brands like Debonair's, Mug and Bean, Tasha's now, Wimpy. They own a few things in overseas, for example, Gourmet Burgers in the UK. It's a wonderful place. You must try it out. Steers, okay. So it's the big retailer of the country, and the thing is, we've now had some fundamental news. Now this fundamental news, we can only speculate what it is. We never fully know. For example, we've had warnings of lower half-year results and that there's going to be a cut in its margin forecast. Okay, so that's the news that came out, and then the share price dropped 8%, which worked coincidentally with the news. But we don't really know, okay? But what we do know is that the trend is down, and we would only look for shorting opportunities. So for example, you have this trend line over here where there's been a low, and it keeps touching this low, and once it breaks below, we can expect the next down trend to continue, or the next down leg, which could send the target of around 103 Rand and 58, which is a potential trade. So I'm writing that down as a potential short trade, just to hedge if the market does decide to continue down in its flag formation. We can at least hedge our positions. Okay, so FBR and the fundamentals are strong, that there is a more downside to come. So I'm going to say short potential breakout. But you just need to, hold on and wait for that SMS. All right. Then let's look at something else. Let's look at Kumba. So Kumba is KIO. So now Kumba, this is something that I'm not going to be sending trades very soon, because I do not like gaps in the market. It can gap below your stop loss, it can gap above, your stop loss if you're short. So these are unhealthy charts that you must be very careful of. And as you know, Kumba is the biggest iron ore mine in South Africa, and there's been a change in board directors, which is obviously changing the confidence with the shareholders. And also the CEO himself, I think his name's Temba, he expects a 40% crash in the commodity, which is not good with Kumba's upside to come. So I would leave Kumba out of it for now, and I'll look at it at a later stage when it starts becoming more of a healthy chart than not. All right, let's try another one. MSM. Ooh, there's a nice green candle here, lots of upside. So we've got a cup and handle forming. We have over here, we have this is called a brim level. So it's formed the cup. Here's the handle. It's broken above, and we can expect a little bit of upside to come to around 127 Rand and 61 cents. Okay, so I'm going to write that down as the next potential trade. MSM is Massmart. They have companies like Game, Macro, Builders Warehouse. Okay, and they also announced a 7.7% sales growth over a 52-week period. I remember reading that earlier in the year. So there is confidence in retailers, and there's confidence with the MSM, and with the breakout of the Aussie to go up, this might be a perfect trade to get in. So there is the cup and handle. All right, and I'll be writing that down. So let's see how that goes. Next one, let's look at a bank. Let's say Standard Bank. Standard Bank has had a beautiful run and has formed the flag. So it's pretty much replicating the move of the Aussie. Okay, and there's also been good news with Standard Bank. They also reported a 11% rise in profits. So even though Moody's, South Africa survived the Moody's downgrade, they still say, Moody's actually says that South Africa's economy will grow 0.5% this year and 1.2% in 2018. So there is a little bit of more confidence than before on the banks of South Africa. So if it breaks above, Standard Bank is a trade that could be fantastic for the upside. And what I'm writing is a falling flag, just like the JSE. And if it breaks above, that is where we're going to get in and ride our profits. Okay? And so yeah, that looks really good. So we can expect it to go from 164 Rand and 38 cents, and we can set a target of around 170. Okay, let's see, is there anything else? And another thing with Standard Bank is that they actually they're reskilling their employees at the moment, and they're investing a lot more in the digital capabilities. If you go onto their application and you go onto their online banking or online share trading even, you'll see that they have an entire new platform that's user-friendly for smartphones and Apple phones, Androids, any type of phone that's smart. And I can see they're really working on it. So there are good prospects for the banks digitally, technologically, and also with the rise in profits, it could be good for upside. And my charts confirm that there is upside to come. Okay, so the Aussie is ready to make an all-time high, which is good for traders and probably investors. So, like, for example, if you're looking to invest in, if you're looking to, like, say, diversify your assets, then maybe you can take a look at our investment advisory, such as South African Investor or Real Wealth. And if you're looking for profiting in the small caps with the Alt X market, then you can look at Red Hot Penny shares. I'm going to throw all those links below in the description below and also in the email, so you can have a read and see if it suits your investment needs, if it suits your personality. You can look around, because the best thing to do for growing consistent income is diversifying your portfolio so that you cater to all types of environments and all types of markets. Okay, so we've got our trades lining up. They're looking fantastic. And you just need to now wait for the trades to come. They could come tomorrow or they could come next week. I'm not sure. I'm just waiting for that signal. But until then, have a fantastic weekend.